I hope. How are you? I'm in a far better frame of mind this week. Still the same week as my last video. I don't know how time goes, but anyway, bit of a gloomer the other night. I couldn't sleep, insomnia, and I'm thinking about Wednesday and next season and this sort of thing. So, I've had a much better day today. In fact, I had a laughing fit at work, and I had a laughing fit for a really long time. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what it were because it was work related, but sometimes you just get a series of events that all conspire at the same time, and and you're already finding it funny, and then you catch somebody's eye and you know that and then you all start. It actually tired me out. I was laughing that hard, I couldn't breathe. I could not breathe. But anyway, there's some news I want to talk about today. Is it really positive news? Probably not, because it's an interview with Danny Röhl, obviously before the game of the weekend. We've got Cardiff, I've still got 24 points to play for. And he was asked, about next season. And he said, he spoke to Kevin Bedell, and they've been talking about training camps and going to Germany, and for that few seconds that I forgot that he's probably going to Southampton, I was like, oh, great, and I was really excited. But on the other hand, he can't really say anything else, can he? He can't sit there and, and if you spoke to so well, yeah, I've spoke to him, but, I'm just passing time of day, really, because I'll not be here. He can't say that, can he? Before the big game, when there's 8 games to go and 24 points still up for grabs, so I was really hopeful for a few minutes, and then it sort of, the realism sort of set back in. But it gave me a glimmer. And as football fans, that's what you stick to, it. You stick to these glimmers of hope. Oh, maybe he's going to be around. And I really want him to be around. I really think he provides the best opportunity that we've had in years to actually try and progress as a club. Obviously, to do that, you need support, you need a network around you and an infrastructure to give you the best chance to fulfil your potential, which in turn fulfills the team's potential. And to that end, obviously, everybody knows the situation at the club, and there's been talk recently about, consortiums, maybe 2, maybe even a third one stepping in there, and talk about maybe getting mediators, because obviously the owner, whether it's through language barriers or whatever, can be a tricky customer to deal with, apparently, in negotiations for various things. So, bit of movement on that. Now, as Wednesday supporters, I think there's a lot of people unhappy with the way things are being run, and how do you make it voiced or known that you're not happy about things? Well, staying away from the ground is never going to happen, because Wednesday and football means so much to people that they're never going to stay away, because it plays such an integral part in people's lives. And you don't work Monday to Friday, I'm working 30, 40, 50 hours a week, and people live for the weekend. It's almost a bit of an old-fashioned value now, I think, maybe because we live in a 24/7 society, but very much that Monday to Friday you're at it, and the weekend, that's your own time, go and enjoy yourself with your mates. And sport especially is a great release, whether you're playing or watching or whatever it is, so people are never going to stay away. So that's never an option for Wednesday supporters to really get behind. Now, there's been a little bit of a campaign online, but obviously, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or just chumps like me doing stuff like this, it's still within a sort of collective bubble, because you shared it with your other mates who are Wednesday fans, So what other ways can you make yourself heard? Well, today the story's gone into a national newspaper, and that really spreads the word that, that word will be getting back to the chairman, and that word will also be going out there to people who are potential football investors, because it's hitting a wider audience through a national newspaper. And of course, national newspapers these days aren't just national newspapers, are they? Because they all have their online version of their newspapers. I mean, I don't know if you're like me. I might click on Mirror or whatever it is, or Times, whatever, you have to differentiate. You have to be like, oh my God, 40 people have been shot. Where's that? Obviously, first thought in my head, Manchester or London. Oh no, in Massachusetts. But because you have to, because our national newspapers now are international, you have to go and look for UK news, you know. So a story breaking into the Mirror might not seem a big thing, but it's actually a massive thing, because that's a story that will be read all around the world now, and alert people, oh, there's a big football club here that potentially could be for sale, and talk about the potential. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to put the word out there. That's one way of doing it, and I think that's a positive step that it's got, you know, put out there. Whether anything comes of that, we don't know. I'd like to see things progress, especially when I link that back with, like I said, that tiny glimmer of hope that I sort of got watching that bit of press conference today. He's talking about next season. Put the two things together. If you could get a new ownership in and a new model, obviously things take time, but if you've got a new ownership in, prepared to put plans in place and do things the right way, run the club in a self-sustaining way, you know, that's a sort of model you want. You want a club to be self-sufficient in what it's doing. If you can do that with an exciting young manager, the potential is huge. We've already got a fan base, so a lot more positive, you know, these news. You take little bits of positives out of the different stories and put them together, and suddenly you start getting that bit of a glow about yourself again. As I said, there's the deep realism in me. Obviously, Danny's not going to say I won't be here. Ron Atkinson, I'd be daft to leave, you know, next day, sayonara. But at the moment, I'm thinking, yeah, come on, let's get ball rolling. Let's get ball rolling and try and get a bit of positivity for Wednesday. And of course, I'm talking about next season. We've still got 8 games of this season to go, including Cardiff and Saturday. The winnable games. We've got 8 games that are winnable on paper. Unfortunately, some of them's at home. Our home form this season has been a bit of a chain around the neck. But Cardiff away, I think that's somewhere we can get a result. Excuse me. What has been a bit of a blow today, Max Lowe ruled out for the rest of the season. It's not just a blow for the team, it was a blow for the player as well. I think he's been absolutely terrific. I really do. There's an argument that Shea Charles has played a year, obviously don't belong to us, but as an owned player, as a player who's contracted to the club, I think there's every reason to, you know, give Max Lowe a shout for playing that season. I think he's been superb. Obviously he limped off against United, now he's ruled out for the rest of the season. And that does leave us, you know, looking desperately short at the back again. I suspect it'll be Hekwe and Iofa if we go with the back 4 against Cardiff. I prefer both of them as right-sided centre-half. Obviously one of them's going to go on left. So that's a little bit of a blow there. But still points available. Try and finish as high as we possibly can. Potentially people looking at investing in the club. Like I said, that tiny glimmer that the manager might hang around, you know. I'm clinging to all these things, you know, finish as high as we possibly can and look towards next season. Now, as we're thinking towards next season and possible investment, possibly the manager might stay, the other thing you want to do is ensure that you've got the best team available to you. And as I said before, there's a lot of players whose contracts are up. One player whose contract isn't up, you know, he doesn't run out till, I think it's June of 2026, is Jenny Gisama. Now he's got a year to run on that contract, so you might think, well, no danger there, not to worry about. You've got to be looking at getting him a new deal long before you get into that last year, because those months start eating away very, very quickly. I mean, you'll know yourself. What about COVID this morning? We were mates at work, well, 5 years ago that, and I'm like, what? Because time flies every day. I mean, I don't know what bloody day it is half of the time. So that year will eat away very, very quickly. So now is the time. I'm sure they probably already are. I'd like to think they already are talking about getting him onto a longer contract, because like I said, it eats away, and every month, you know, it might be a year now, well, 13 months. Soon it's 10 months, and it's 7, then it's 6 months. eats away, and all the time that contract's winding down, the value's winding down as well. You know, people aren't going to, I'll give you 2 million for that kid. They're going to think, oh, right, well, in 6 weeks we can get everything out. So, really got to start thinking about that now. Because he's a huge asset. He's a huge asset on the pitch. If we're going to achieve anything on the park next season, he'll have a massive part to play in that. And if, as part of Wednesday, moving forward and using like I said, a self-sustaining, policy, if you like, and plan, then you need to get those players tied down so that they can bring in revenue in the future. So you can then bring more younger players in and get them trained up and levelled up and moved on. So lots of things to think about. But I am feeling in a much more positive frame of mind. But, let's see how I'm feeling at 5:30, 6 o'clock on Saturday. Oh, I forgot to put bloody microphone on. Fucking hell, fire. Amateur hour. Absolute amateur hour.